Qui-Gon Jinn was a great teacher, learner, and Jedi Knight, and became one of the most wise Jedi in the Star Wars canon. This week's episode of The Secrets of the Force will pertain to the Grand Jedi Master Qui-Gon Jinn. I would also like to mention that all of this information is Star Wars canon, meaning I did not take any of the information I will present today from any of the many rich stories about Qui-Gon from the legends. With that in mind, let's begin. Qui-Gon was born on Coruscant and grew up, like many Jedi, in the Jedi Temple. After earning the rank of Padawan learner, he transitioned into life as an apprentice to Count Dooku. Like Dooku before him, Qui-Gon questioned and defied the Jedi Order and their conservative nature as he became a Jedi Knight. Eventually, Qui-Gon received his own apprentice to teach, who manifested into being Obi-Wan Kenobi, who would continue the line of rebellious Jedi. Qui-Gon Jinn is known for being the master of Obi-Wan Kenobi, but I do not think that is his biggest accomplishment. In reality, Qui-Gon set up Luke's ability to be trained by Obi-Wan and Yoda by training them how to live long after their bodies were destroyed. In his quest to keep his consciousness alive after death, Jinn traveled to a planet that was said to be the birthplace of the life and midichlorians in the galaxy. After being deemed worthy by 5 Force priestesses, they began to teach him how the living force and the cosmic force are interconnected. On his secret quest to learn the secrets of eternal life, Jinn was also taught by a shaman of the Willis. He learned when organisms are born, they exist in the living force, and when they die, their energy passes into the cosmic force and completes the circle of life. Qui-Gon continued his teachings in secret while he continued to teach Obi-Wan Kenobi in the ways of the Force. When we first see Qui-Gon Jinn, the Clone Wars are 10 years away, and Kenobi has had Jinn as a master for a number of years. Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan are seen as ambassadors of the Republic to negotiate a settlement with the Trade Federation's leader, Nute Gunray, to end their blockade over the peaceful planet of Naboo. After the Federation attempted to gas out and kill the Jedi by Darth Sidious's orders, the Jedi snuck aboard a droid military transport ship to the surface of Naboo. Soon after they arrive, they encounter a local Nubian named Jar Jar Binks, but he is more famously known on the internet as the real villain in Star Wars. Binks leads Jinn and Kenobi to a Gungan city to gain a Hablubber to travel to Theed. Qui-Gon needed to speak to Queen Amidala to protect her from the invasion by the Trade Federation. When they arrive in the capital, they escort the Queen off the planet to avoid signing a treaty that would legalize the Federation's occupation of the planet. But since their hyperdrive was damaged, they were forced to land on a little desert planet, Tatooine. Qui-Gon realizes that they do not have the currency needed to buy a new hyperdrive, so he had to find a creative way to earn the funds. As he searches for a new hyperdrive, he discovers a slave boy named Anakin Skywalker, who he senses is strong in the Force. Qui-Gon inquires about the boy's origins and learns through Anakin's mother Shmi that Anakin was conceived spontaneously from the Force, which led Jinn to believe Anakin may be the chosen one. If Anakin was the chosen one, that would mean that he would be the person that would bring balance to the Force. Anakin proves his Force abilities by raising the money needed to buy the hyperdrive by raising his pod in the extremely dangerous Boonta Eve Classic. Qui-Gon Jinn frees Anakin from slavery through betting on the pod race with Anakin's master Watto. Just prior to taking off to travel to Coruscant, a phantom menace attacks Jinn, which brings him to realize that the Sith have been growing and returning. Once their cruiser arrives on Coruscant, Qui-Gon presents the boy to the Jedi Council and demands that he should be trained. Jinn confidently disobeyed and went against the teachings of the Jedi Order. The Order focused more on meditation and focused on being mindful of the future, while Jinn looked to the present to guide him. Determining Anakin's training status took a back seat when Padme Amidala determined she would return to Naboo, so Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan once again were her Jedi protectors on her voyage back. In the midst of the Battle of Naboo, which aimed to take back Naboo from the Trade Federation, the mysterious Phantom Menace, I always kind of crack up describing Darth Maul as that, appeared with the first double-sided lightsaber seen in the Star Wars universe. Darth Maul fought furiously with the Jedi, but unfortunately Qui-Gon was murdered in the lightsaber duel. Obi-Wan Kenobi sliced Maul in half, but that was not enough to kill the Sith apprentice, and he would soon return, but for the moment the fight was over. Qui-Gon's final living words were for Obi-Wan to train Anakin in the ways of the Force, and because of that moment, the Council allowed the Chosen One's training to begin. Luckily for Qui-Gon, his story did not end there. Unfortunately, he was murdered before his training in the Force could be completed, so he did not have, early on, the ability to show himself in a physical form. His only way to communicate was through his voice. The first time he reveals himself in human form is during the Clone Wars, when Ahsoka, Obi-Wan, and Anakin are lured into the realm of Mortis. Qui-Gon manifests himself in front of Obi-Wan Kenobi and explains that Mortis acted as a conduit for the Force, which amplified his abilities, and that is how he could show himself to Kenobi. Qui-Gon also reveals himself to Anakin Skywalker to explain how he is confident Anakin is the Chosen One. Until Qui-Gon Jinn exposes himself to Yoda, the Jedi had been unaware of the possibility of living after death. Jinn knew Yoda would play an important role in training the next generation of Jedi after the inevitable destruction of the Republic and the Jedi Order, so he guided Yoda to Dagobah to begin the trials to allow him to be trained in maintaining his consciousness. Jinn explained how the living force fed into the cosmic force, which allowed him to return after his death. The 5 Force priestesses who trained Qui-Gon determined, after Yoda completed his trials, that Jinn would instruct him. When the Empire rose to power, Yoda explained to Obi-Wan that his former master lived on from beyond the grave, and Master Qui-Gon would teach Kenobi the ways of surviving death as well. Because of Qui-Gon's rebellious nature and his continued longing for knowledge outside of the Jedi Order, he was able to gain the knowledge that would be instrumental in allowing the Jedi to live on. Without Qui-Gon training Yoda and Kenobi how to preserve their consciousness, they may not have been able to teach Luke Skywalker the ways of the Force and bring him to his destiny of facing Darth Vader and bringing balance to the Force. Now that I've completed telling you about the great Jedi Master Qui-Gon Jinn, it's time for Star Wars trivia. Last week's question was, just prior to being captured by the Separatists, Obi-Wan originally sent a distress signal to who for help on Geonosis? The correct answer is Anakin. Anakin was supposed to be on Naboo watching over Padme, but was actually on Tatooine at the time. Now for this week's question. What species of alien is seen in Episode 1 that is not influenced by Force persuasion? A. Gungan, B. Toydarian, C. Gran, or D. Corellian? If you think you know the answer, please place your guess in the comment section. If you enjoyed this episode of Secrets of the Force, then please like and subscribe. I post videos every Sunday, and your subscription will keep you posted on a lot of new information on Star Wars. If you have any ideas for Secrets of the Force videos, or just have any questions, please place your thoughts in the comment section, and I will respond as soon as I see it. Thank you for watching, and may the Force be with you.